Pointless, random, absurd, superfluous, and slapdash facts.
Greetings, welcome to the most impulsive, desultory, and stochastic show on the internet.
Speaking of desultory, according to NASA, Mercury's axis of rotation is tilted just 2 degrees with respect to the plane of its orbit around the Sun. That means it spins nearly perfectly upright, and so Mercury does not experience seasons as many other planets do. Plus, get this, Mercury speeds around the Sun every 88 days, traveling through space at nearly 29 miles, or 47 kilometers per second, faster than any other planet. To add to that, Mercury spins slowly on its axis and completes one rotation every 59 Earth days. But when it is in its elliptical orbit around the Sun, at Mercury's fastest as well as closest point to the Sun, each rotation is not accompanied by sunrise and sunset like it is on most other planets. The morning sun appears to rise briefly, then set, and rise again from some parts of the planet's surface. The same thing happens in reverse at sunset for other parts of the surface. One Mercury solar day, that's one full day-night cycle, equals 176 Earth days. That's just over 2 years on Mercury.
So one day takes 2 years.
Or one may say, 2 years go by every day. Alien time confuses me honestly.
The bourgeois tarot deck is a 19th century pattern of tarot cards of German origin that is still used for playing card games today in Western Europe and Canada. It is not commonly used for divinatory purposes, for which tarot cards are more commonly known outside continental Europe. This deck is most commonly found in France, Belgian Wallonia, Swiss Romandy and Canadian Quebec for playing French tarot, in southwest Germany for playing Segu and Dryals, and in Denmark for Danish tarot.
That sounds pretty bad.
And bougie.
True. The NHL hockey team New Jersey Devils is named after the creature, the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, a legendary creature of southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States. It is said to inhabit the forest of pine barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a two-legged kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream.
Former Soviet cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova is known for being the first and youngest woman in space, having flown a solo mission on the 16th of June 1963 on the Vostok 6. She spent almost 3 days in space, orbiting the Earth 48 times. She remains the only woman to have been on a solo space mission.
Of all the Russian cosmonauts, Valentina Tereshkova has received the most requests to visit foreign nations. However, her trips in particular required pre-approval from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Defense, and the KGB. To add to that, ultimately her travel had to be authorized by the Presidium of the Central Committee of the Communist Party. That's the highest political bureau in the Soviet Union.
Actually, in February of 1964, Tereshkova was expecting her first child when she visited Queen Elizabeth II, who was also expecting her baby, Prince Edward, Earl of Wessex at the time.
Would you believe there is a mountain in Wales known as Blorange? Plus, spores are made in a sac known as a sporange. Yet some say nothing rhymes with orange.
My word. You know, bunk is short for the synonymous bunkum, which has political origins. To debunk something is to take the bunk out of it. That bunk being nonsense. Debunk has been in use since at least the 1920s, and it contrasts with synonyms like disprove and rebut by suggesting that something is not merely untrue, but is also a sham or a trick that was intended to deceive. One can simply disprove a myth, but if it is debunked, the implication is that the myth was a grossly exaggerated or foolish claim.
The world's most famous right-hand crystal-studded glove, worn by Michael Jackson, sold for $190,000. That's more than 85,000 pounds at an auction in the US. The glove sold at auction on the first anniversary of its owner, Michael Jackson's death, to an anonymous bidder at an auction in Texas. Jackson first wore the white Swarovski crystal-studded glove during the 1984 Victory Tour with his brothers.
You know, you could visit Jimi Hendrix's London flat. In 2016, the London flat where Hendrix really began his career at 23 Brook Street, was restored to what it would have looked like when Jimi lived there from 1968 to 1969 and reopened as a museum. The living room that doubled as his bedroom is decked out in bohemian decor, and a pack of Benson and Hedges cigarettes sits on the bedside table. There's also space dedicated to his record collection. Amazingly, in Jimi's apartment building, which is located in the city's Mayfair neighborhood, 25 Brook Street, was also the home to George Handel from 1723 until his death in 1759. The location is the Handel and Hendrix in London, and it serves as a museum to the famed composer's life and work.
In a room with 23 people, there's a better than 50% chance that two people have the same birthday. It's called the birthday paradox.
Albert Einstein said, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous."
It was Lao Tzu who said, "If you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading."